You can register to vote if you're not registered. You can check to see if you are registered to vote, and if you are, you can find your polling place and you can go there. So that's what's happening.
That's what's happening.
That's what I'm dealing with. I didn't turn the TV on today.
Nope.
Because I would have been distracted all day.
Yep.
Instead, we're locked in to a magnificent Sacramento Kings win over the Miami Heat last night. 111-110, Domantas Sabonis with the game-winning putback with less than a second remaining for the W in a game that one of my keys yesterday on the Purple and Black pregame show was don't let go of the rope. Miami is going to scratch, they're going to claw, they're going to fight, and they went up by 15. And that was a moment that I thought, oh, the Kings are going to roll over.
Oh, I thought
this
so
is
too.
where the Miami's up 15. They might hang around, but like this is a tough spot. Last game of a road trip. Miami is a good enough team. All right. And then they just scratched and clawed and fought back. And De'Aaron Fox scores 16 in the third quarter. The Kings outscore the Heat by 20 in the third quarter. The Miami Heat, I saw this from Wes Goldberg. He used to cover the Warriors. Now he's the host of Locked On Heat down there in Miami. The Heat are a plus 17 in the first quarter this year, a plus 25 in the second quarter, and a minus 52 in the third quarter.
What?
And a plus 17 in the fourth.
Well, I mean, that plays out to this game to a T.
Big time.
I mean, they even came back in the fourth and outscored the Kings by 6 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
As they fought to get back in it. Yeah, absolutely tremendous performance.
Super impressed.
Yeah, tremendous performance by De'Aaron Fox.
Yep.
Like whatever happened at halftime.
Yep.
Clearly there was some loud noises that were happening in the locker room.
Yeah, just pots, pans banging around in there.
People were not happy with what was going on. Fox answered the call. Whatever it was that's going on, his hand is hurt. Whatever is happening, he goes 7 of 10 from the field, 2 of 3 in that third quarter.
Yeah.
Domantas Sabonis had 8 rebounds and 5 assists in the third quarter. Like, this is what the Kings had to have. They had to have this group step forward.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they found a gem in De'Aaron Fox in that game.
You don't want every game to have to come down to your bench.
No.
Obviously, you'd love to get contributions from Malik Monk and Trey Lyles and Alex Len or whoever's playing off the bench in that particular game. But sometimes you just need your dudes to be dudes. You need your A players to step up and play like A players. We had DeMar DeRozan moments last night. We had a De'Aaron Fox quarter last night. We had a big-time Malik Monk dunk that cut the lead to one or two.
Yeah.
I lost track there when it was going back and forth at the end of the game. But got a big-time Malik Monk dunk. And Domas was obviously magnificent there at the end. Hit a big-time three-pointer that tied the game and hit the game-winning bucket. I don't want to say this is I wrote down in my notes here that this is a maximized version of the Kings. I don't think that's right, because I think a maximized version of the Kings is playing a better game than the Kings played last night. But there are going to be times where you're going to go in, you're not going to be perfect every night. And on the nights you're not perfect, can you figure out a way to scrap and pull out a win? And that's what I thought they did last night, leaning on their 4 top guys all coming through. And we've talked a lot about how do they close games? What does this look like when they're closing out games? Who's going to be the guy? I think that's where they maximized it last night. There wasn't one guy like, okay, DeMar, here, go try and score a tough bucket. De'Aaron, try and do everything. Malik, dribble around and see if you can hit some crazy threes. It wasn't it was within the flow of the offense. It was tough rebounding. It was good shooting. A great team win last night for the Kings when I thought they needed it.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you go to the fourth quarter and you look at the Miami Heat, who had 15 points from Jimmy Butler, and pretty much he scored almost all of their shots, all of their points. Tyler Hero had 7, Terry Rozier had 6 in that fourth quarter. But for the Kings to have 5 from Fox, 6 from Monk, 7 from Domantas Sabonis, including the game winner, and then the incredible and 1 3-point shot from DeMar DeRozan late in the game, I think that tied it. And just absolutely every single one of them had a moment. And I do believe that is how this team will survive. That's how they will thrive. It's
Mhm.
if they figure this out right here, how to take turns. It's okay for DeMar DeRozan to have a big second quarter or for De'Aaron Fox to have a big third quarter. But when it
Mhm.
comes down to the end, everybody needs to play well and
Absolutely.
everybody needs to touch the ball.
Mhm.
Like if it starts getting sticky, that's when things go south with this team.
That's all offensive stuff. Keegan Murray's defense on Jimmy Butler, 110-109 with 10 seconds left. And Jimmy Butler working on the baseline, doing the pump fake, turnaround. Keegan could not have played that better.
Yeah.
And if Jimmy Butler hits that shot, you live with it.
Mm-hmm.
But that was outstanding defense on that end by Keegan that set up a chance to win the game in that final possession. Just a really, really high quality finish to last night's game. And it, like I said, it wasn't a perfect game by any means. But after losing to Toronto, you kind of had to go get this one. Coming back 2-2 on the road trip would have been like,
would have been tough.
Yeah, like if Domas' shot doesn't go down last night, we're talking about a 2-2 game, and they couldn't close out the Heat.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. The Kings are now tied for 4th in the Western Conference, but they're in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 team tie for 4th place. They're listed as 8th on Basketball Reference, but that's
not a
just
playoff team.
They're just listed that way. They're literally tied for 4th. And the crazy thing, I was telling Kyle before we got on, the West has 9 teams that are 500 or better. A bunch of them are 4-3. We got the 2 6-1 teams in Phoenix and Golden State, and OKC at 7-0. Right. Yep. Then you have Memphis at 4-4. So 10 teams are 500 or better. In the Eastern Conference, there are a total of 5 teams that are 500 or better. If we just talk about better than 500, there are 2 teams. Cleveland and Boston are the only 2 teams in the Eastern Conference that are above 500.
Oh my God.
Cleveland is 8-0. Boston is 7-1. Miami's 3-3. The Knicks are 3-3. Brooklyn is 4-4. And then it just goes really fast downhill from there. All the way. It goes so fast downhill that the bottom 2 teams, Kyle, the Philadelphia 76ers and the Milwaukee Bucks. Ugh. Didn't expect that, did we?
No. The Sixers maybe a little.
Maybe.
No Paul George, no Joel Embiid to start the year.
Yeah.
But definitely, I wouldn't have picked them to be last.
No.
For sure.
No.
Definitely expected a little bit of a slow start, but not nearly as slow as that's been. We'll go around the league a little bit later. There were a ton of games going on last night. This is a really nice early signature win for the Kings. And it's exactly why I forget the gentleman's name who is coming at me in the chat yesterday when I was talking about the Kings lost to Toronto and being a little bit dramatic about it. This is why, like, reacting to that game specifically, it's like, yeah, it wasn't great, but it's also why it was game 6. Like, there's no sweeping declarations being made about the Kings because you can bounce back the next night, or excuse me, a couple nights later, and come back with a really, really excellent win against a quality opponent in Miami. I'm still pretty down on them as a team, as a like playoff team or contender, but like I said, I fully expected the Kings, and I think last year's early season Kings probably do roll over and lose that game.
No, I think so too. I mean, this is what we're looking for. You're looking for the resiliency of the team.
Yeah.
You lose the first 2 games of the season, you win 3, you lose 1, you're right back in it.
Yep.
You got another win. Like, can you start stringing together wins? And that's going to be the question. Can this team early in the season, can they figure out how to play together before the schedule really gets tough? This is not a difficult schedule to open the season. The road trip, it was horrible and just like one of the worst scheduled road trips I've ever seen
very odd
by the NBA. I mean, again, making a team leave Atlanta after a game and they probably leave at like 11:30 or midnight.
Yeah.
And then have to fly 1,000 miles and go through customs in Toronto
and deal with the Atlanta airport.
Yeah. Like all of that. No, like it's just not. It was not at all what should have happened. That's not a normal travel schedule. But to see them come back, still playing without Kevin Huerter, who tried to give it a go in shoot around yesterday, and then just like sounds like he was just very sick and just had to leave. Had to leave shoot around. But also that's the other thing. Keon Ellis gets a start, and Mike Brown kind of went away from the trend that he had done before, where he doesn't pull guys that are in that second rotation, that second team, and elevate them. But, I thought Keon Ellis was really good. Keon Ellis, we talked about the horrible plus minus of Kevin Huerter in the one game. Keon Ellis was a plus 22 last night. De'Aaron Fox, who literally saved the game in the third quarter, was a -9. That's
wow.
That's why the stat is just weird.
It's a very, very odd statistic for sure.
Yeah, but another one of those games where 7 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds, and 3 steals for Keon Ellis. I'll take it every single time.
The Kings had 8 guys play last night. Check that. 9 guys played last night. 3 of them had a positive plus minus, and they won the game.
Oh, it's at plus 22. Without Keon's plus 22, they don't win that game, Kyle.
Yeah. Shout out to Keon Ellis, player of the game. No, we'll have our Jiffy Lube teammate play of the game, and we'll explain how we're doing that giveaway this year. Jiffy Lube gave us stuff to give away, and we'll explain in a little bit how we're going to do that. But this is like you said, we're not going to see a maximized version of the Kings or the best version of the Kings. And Katie Christensen on the TV broadcast was talking about it last night. Like, this is a little bit of their offense. They are just at the surface level of, okay, this is what this is going to look like. And once you've mastered that and you figure that out, then you start building all the counters off of it. And once defenses start defending you a certain way, you start building all the counters off of it. So we're not going to see what like the quote unquote real Kings offense until February,
probably
March, somewhere in there. So what I'm looking for this year, because again, we're not trying to make sweeping judgments off of small sample sizes, but what I do want to see is like these little areas where, oh, this was different than last year. Outside of DeMar DeRozan, right? Like, we all know DeMar DeRozan's awesome, and he changes the entire complexion of this team just by himself. But little things like being down 15 on the 4th game of a 4-game road trip in Miami and scrapping out a win. That to me that's a mindset change. They went in at halftime and didn't go, well, we're back home. We get the Raptors. We'll get back to 500 and figure it out from there. No, we're going to win tonight. We're going to figure out how to win this game. We're not playing up to, they've set a standard for themselves, and they said, hey, we're not playing up to the standard that we've set. And it wasn't one person. It was obviously De'Aaron Fox in the third quarter, but it wasn't just Fox. He didn't go for 50. It was everybody contributing. And that to me is a really, really great sign of where this team could be heading over the next 3, 4, 5 months.
Yeah. I really did feel like in the second quarter that they started to let go of the rope.
Yep.
And I was very concerned that game was going to slip out of control.
Yep.
And realistically, it did. I mean, they got outscored 26-36 in the second quarter. They went into half, down 13, something like that.
Well, the worst part is it was a 2-point game with 2.5 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Yeah.
It was back and forth. They were hanging right there. And then all of a sudden you look up at the end of the quarter and the Heat are up 13 points.
Yeah. It's totally
what?
Yeah.
Hey, where did everybody go? And that was legitimately, I was like, oh, they tapped out.
Yep.
It's been a long road trip. All right.
That's what it looked like. It looked like at that moment that they were done. But, shout out to Trey Lyles, who had a better game than what he has the last couple of months, the last couple of games.
Hit a couple shots.
He hit a big 3, 2 for 4 from the field there in the second, 5 points. And DeMar DeRozan, you could tell DeMar DeRozan sensed it in the second, that things were getting really, really slow and sticky. And again, I thought he did a really good job of answering the call there. And just in the second, overall, like they've got to figure out how to play better as a team.
Love that DeMar DeRozan is living in Midtown. Am I right?
Yeah.
Everyone? Midtown?
Yeah. He's the greatest mid-range jump shooter.
Midtown Sacramento, and he shoots a lot and makes a lot of shots in the mid-range.
Yeah. I got it.
Do you get it?
I got it, Kyle. I got it. Yeah, he definitely lives in the mid-range. It's absolutely crazy to see a player.
He's okay. So here's how there are very few players in this category for me where Steph Curry is in this category. DeMar DeRozan is also in this category.
Okay.
And I think that might be it. I would have to bop around League Pass and take account of this category for me. of the players that I will never get over the shots they're taking.
Okay.
I'll never be like, good shot when they take a bad shot. Even though I have a decade plus of Steph Curry taking bad shots and making them. We have a decade plus of DeMar DeRozan taking bad, contested, tough jumpers and making them.
16 years.
Every single time. Every time. Last night, Jimmy Butler's in his grill, 2 hands up. He's elevating him like, what are you doing? Cash. All right. And I'm just, every time, nope. Well, that bad shot. Okay, bucket. I'm just going to.
It's gonna take some getting used to.
Kyle. Never.
I don't.
You're gonna be sitting there with me. You're gonna be sitting there with me at Golden One Center in game whatever of the playoffs, and I'm gonna be sitting there, and he's gonna take that shot in a tie game in the fourth quarter, and I'm gonna go, "What are you doing?" And he's gonna cash it.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna get used to it. Like I said, I've watched almost every game Steph Curry has ever played, and I still, when he shoots that shot against France in the gold medal game, I'm like, Steph, and cash. Like, oh yeah, of course. Why wouldn't he hit that?
Yeah.
That's where DeMar DeRozan is for me.
I get it. There are two players that shot with players draped all over them like he does. And that really come to mind. Kobe.
Yes.
But Kobe would elevate up and over people and shoot over the top. Like he was incredible.
Bucket. Like scoring a bucket.
Bucket. There we go.
Sorry,
cool.
Go on.
The other player is Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce, you could send 3 dudes who are really literally like ripping his jersey, and he's still going to hit the shot. Like whatever it is. And you leave those guys wide open, they hit nothing. they cannot, unless someone is right there. Like you almost just wanted to defend them. You just back off. Like, all right, go ahead.
But then if they make it, it's like, why are you not defending that guy?
Yeah.
I think Carmelo in that vein too.
Yeah, a little bit in that vein. Yeah,
man. Paul Pierce had a lot of tough shots. But yeah, last night I spent the entire evening. I don't think DeMar took one like open look.
No. And then his turnover in the end was so like someone just brought it up. It was so egregious. And like not only did he turn it over, but then he stumbles and falls on Hero for the free throws. You're like, what just happened?
That was I thought he was I thought he was maybe trying to steal the ball. Like thinking maybe, I'll catch him napping here, expecting a foul, and I'll say, but he like tackled him.
Oh yeah.
When the play first out, I was like, oh no, that might be flagrant.
Yeah.
The modern NBA, they might give him an F1 for that. But yeah, man, all is forgiven when you win the basketball game, and DeMar DeRozan 8 points in the fourth quarter helped the Kings. So did De'Aaron Fox. So did Domantas Sabonis, and that's where our Jiffy Lube teammate play of the game is going to come in. So here's what we're going to do in the month of November.
Okay.
We have 4 $50 Jiffy Lube gift cards to give away.
Okay.
And we all know that you're going to need your car serviced before the holiday season really kicks up. It's already starting. I'm doing fall scented candles in my home. That's when I know it's driving season, baby. So you're going to need to get your car into Jiffy Lube, and we're giving you $50 gift certificate to Jiffy Lube. Here's how it's going to work. We're going to have, after every Kings game, a Jiffy Lube teammate play of the game, and we're going to give you a code word that is associated with that play. You're going to go to the contest page at ESPN1320.com. You're going to enter that code word, and you will be entered to win a $50 Jiffy Lube gift certificate that we will give away on Friday. So each word that we give out during the week is your chance to enter for that week. So you can enter, if there's 4 Kings games in a week, that'd be nuts. Mm-hmm. If there's 4 Kings games in a week and we give out 4 words, then you can enter to win 4 times. Got it?
Got it.
And again, the contest page is at ESPN1320.com. The Jiffy Lube teammate play of the game, I don't know that we'll have an easier selection than the one we had last night. Here it is, courtesy of NBC Sports California. It's Mark Jones and Katie Christensen on the call.
Box. Here's De'Aaron working against Larson. Spins, pulls for the win. Comes off. Sabonis for the win. It's in with point. Box.
Man, sometimes we can talk about offense and creating offense and passing and dribble handoffs and all that. But sometimes you just need your dude to be a dude.
Yep.
You need the best rebounder in the NBA to go up in a sea of bodies, come out with the basketball, and then have the touch to not only get the ball to the rim, but through. Like sometimes you need your all-NBA player to just go be an all-NBA player.
I totally agree.
And that's what we saw last night. Shout out to Domantas Sabonis. We'll get one more look at the game winner here on YouTube. Again, this is courtesy of NBC Sports California. The Jimmy Butler contest, very good there.
Yep.
Didn't matter.
Nope.
It didn't matter as Domas comes through with a game-winning bucket for the Kings. So today's Jiffy Lube teammate play of the game, keyword is putback. All one word, Putback, putback, in honor of the Domantas Sabonis putback game winner last night in Miami. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
It was it was a lot of fun. And then right after that, we had football and it became even more fun with my fantasy football team. But in the meantime, it was like, hey, that's how you have to win in Miami. No one goes into Miami and just wins by 20. It's never easy. It's never. I mean, the Kings had lost 5 in a row in Miami, so they hadn't won in Miami since 2019.
Yeah,
maybe 2018. So I mean, that is such a difficult place to play. That is such a gritty team. Whether they're great or not, I don't know. We never did really get the reason why Jaime Jaquez didn't play.
Yeah,
but totally bizarre.
Really weird.
He got a DMP CD from what it looked like. Either way, I thought that was a tremendous way to cap off a road trip, and to have Domantas Sabonis be the guy with the game-saving putback is just absolutely
after hitting a huge 3 earlier in the game too.
Oh yeah,
just before that.
Yeah,
man, I'm a really, really high quality win. I texted you after.
Yeah,
that was a great bleeping win.
Oh yeah,
was man, they needed it. Oh, I have one more Miami stat for you. I mentioned that there were minus 52 in the third quarter and plus 17 in the first and fourth and a plus 25 in the second. Their 3-point shooting percentage by quarter. Miami this year, 42% in the first quarter. That's 5th in the league. 41% in the second quarter. That's 5th in the league. 41.1% in the fourth quarter. That's 5th in the league. 29.5% in the third quarter.
Okay. So one of two things is happening.
Eric Spoelstra's washed.
Either they really have a tough time at halftime where they just kind of chill and they don't come out prepared, which is possible. It's also possible that they do something that's basic and teams are adjusting to it coming out in the third quarter, and they're taking that away, and you're seeing the numbers dip there. And then by the time the game gets really rolling again in the fourth quarter, they start hitting again. They make adjustments too.
I see. You mentioned that there was also Monday Night Football on last night. Does anyone get fake hurt more often than Patrick Mahomes?
No. Yes. Love gets fake hurt more often.
But Jordan Love gets actually hurt. Like he leaves games.
Yeah.
Mahomes, I swear, 4 times a season, I see him limping off the field, and the reaction is, "Oh my God, Patrick Mahomes might never play football again."
That looked catastrophic.
And then he misses no time. He's just back.
He's like,
what?
We're watching him run up and down the sidelines, and again, not to bring up fantasy football, but we had a lot riding on him coming back in the game and trying to finish that thing. And I'm like, oh no, that's not good. My son's like, oh, I think he's done for the year. Exactly what you said.
And he's just back.
He took
touchdown.
A bad step. It looked like he could have hyperextended or he popped his Achilles. I'm like, oh, that does not look good. And then you see him. He's jogging on the sidelines. I'm like, I think he's coming back in.
God, dude, it's
yeah.
Comes back, hits DeAndre Hopkins to take the lead late. Comes down in overtime, gets possession first, scores a game-winning touchdown. Yep. Yeah, no, Kareem Hunt technically scored the game-winning touchdown. But yeah, no. Patrick Mahomes went from done for the year to 8-0. Easy work.
8-0.
I don't understand, and it's someday teams will get wise to this. How are the Bucks not going for 2 after scoring late in the game?
I want to know what it is that the charts say. Who made the chart? how does it actually work? Like whatever it is, because that was to me like that if Mahomes gets the ball, you're going to lose.
Right. So here's the calculus. It's, can we score from the 2-yard line? Can we get a 2-point conversion from the 2-yard line? Or are we going to leave it up to the coin toss where it's 50-50 and you have no control over it?
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, the Chiefs won the toss. Like, all right, game over. And everybody knows it. I don't understand. If they had held the Chiefs to 3 points, okay, then maybe. Okay, fine.
But
they were cooking, man.
Maybe they saw Mahomes over there and like, oh, I don't think he can go. I think he's hurt.
Okay, then they're even more dense than I thought they were.
Mahomes got him hook, line, and sinker.
Oh, this is going to be the time that he doesn't come back and come in to win the game. Here it is. Golly. And the fact that Andy Reid got asked about this after the game, and if I'm Todd Bowles, this is the most embarrassing thing that could happen to me. They got asked about Andy Reid after the game. Somebody asked him, "Oh, were you surprised they didn't go for 2?" And he went, "No." And I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah. I mean, was it Aikman calling the game? Aikman, like, why did they not go?
We need to remove ourselves from the thinking of football as we thought about it in the 1980s and 1990s, where it's like, yeah, play for the tie, play for overtime. No, play for the damn win, bro.
Yeah. Unless you're the Giants, then don't play for the win because you're not going to get it.
Take any point you can get. But if you're Tampa Bay in that spot, like, dude, you've done it. You were the underdogs. You came in here without your top 2 wide receivers. You scored the late touchdown. You have all the momentum. Go for the win.
Yeah.
Go get 2 yards. And if you don't, hey, you know what? You went for it. You tried. You try an onside kick. Maybe you get it. Maybe you don't. But hey, you know what? You went for the win. Instead of, yeah, we're going to kick this extra point and then we're going to go to overtime. Oh, our offense didn't get the ball in overtime? Shucks.
We lost.
Yeah, dog, we all knew that was going to happen. How did you not? Brutal, man. Brutal. We'll dive a little bit more into that game with the 49ers facing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. 49ers coming off a bye. Tampa Bay now coming off a Monday night game where they went to overtime. I'll talk about what that means for San Francisco. But we have an exciting Kings win to continue digging into. 111 for the Kings, 110 for the Heat. We will be back with more Sacramento Kings basketball. James Ham's 6 quick thoughts coming up next on ESPN 1320. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. It's Sacramento Sports Center. We're clear. We're not on the air. Not here.
Okay. Just making sure. What's going on? I think it was funny. Did you see the coin flip and Baker Mayfield's head just goes? He just like slumps. Oh. Shout out to DeAndre Hopkins, who we picked up and started this week and was incredible. Team rolling with Mahomes is back. What's going on? Take it back. What's going on, everybody?
Hey, everyone.
We didn't get to say like formal hellos this morning. We were talking about some dark stuff.
Rory.
Yeah, salute to Rory. Lizzie, I don't want to talk about I think I'm 4-5 now. We were done last night if we lost. Yeah, we're 4-5.
Morning, David. Good morning, everybody. What's up, Zach? What's up, Russ Dog? Great question. What's up, VJ? Good question. We'll talk about this. I'm starring that.
Oh yeah, I started.
Good morning, Katrina. I saw Drew Down in here. What's up, Drew Down? I'm just throwing messages up here to say good morning to people. What's up, Zabo?
Cool.
Leezy's in the building.
I got a one I actually want to mention to somebody.
Take it back. Ramsey. I think Ramsey got the belt today. Congratulations, Ramsey.
Congrats, Ramsey.
Address your...
Yeah, Gilbert, why do we always bring up customs? Going through customs is not the worst part of traveling. We're not talking about going through the airport. We're talking about going into a different country and actually going through customs and having your bag searched and all that stuff. Like, it doesn't matter whether you're rich or you're NBA players or you're standard dude making, going to Mexico, going through customs takes like an extra 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, whatever it might be. You still have to go through customs, which slows things down.
I must have gotten super lucky. And granted, this is a whole basketball team, not 4 people traveling together, but I must have gotten super lucky when I went to England.
Yeah.
Because I flew through customs both times.
Well, yeah, but you have to remember that they have like bags and bags, like
yeah, right.
rollers.
That's what I'm saying. I wasn't with a basketball team.
Yeah. So getting through customs takes time as an NBA team. Now, it might only be like 45 minutes, but think about a 3-hour flight starting at midnight and getting in at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then you got, even if it's a half hour, then you got to get in a car or bus and it takes you to your hotel. You got to get checked in. You got to get your room. And next thing you know, it's 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, that's what we're talking about. So that's why I bring up customs. It's the only place in the NBA where they have to go through customs, and having a back-to-back would be tough. Would I switch from Mahomes to yes. Mahomes hasn't been a good fantasy football quarterback for, I want to say, like 15 weeks. This was the first time that he'd scored over 20 this season in fantasy football, and he ended with like 25. Like, I could have started Bo Nix last week and got 25. Like, he has not been good.
Mike Williams traded to the Steelers.
Yes. Yeah. Again, this was the first week this season that Mahomes got over 20. He has 11 passing touchdowns and 9 interceptions on the season.
Oh,
yeesh.
We're back. I'll figure this out someday. One day I'm going to do this right. Okay, here we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Yeah, talking about the most important game in the National Basketball Association last night. The Detroit Pistons, my Detroit Pistons, down the LA Lakers 115-103.
Are the Lakers bad? Next,
or are
on
the Pistons good? Now more commercials. No, I'm joking. Kings 111, Heat 110. It's the day after a Kings game. I almost said a Kings win, but we do this after a Kings loss as well. It is the day after a Kings game, which means we've got James Ham's 6 quick thoughts.
How'd yesterday's Kings game go? Kings insider James Ham has 6 notes you need to know. Here are James Ham's 6 quick thoughts.
James Ham, quick thought number 1. Oh my gosh. Quick thought number 1.
De'Aaron Fox took over the third quarter, 16 of his 28 points. He was absolutely magnificent. The Heat scored the first bucket coming out of halftime and put the Heat up 63-48. And then Fox just dominated the rest of the quarter. That's what the Kings need from him. Whatever he was doing, he looked good. The hand is still causing him problems, you can tell. And, maybe his shooting numbers are down a little bit. But overall, really, really nice bounce back game for De'Aaron Fox.
Yep, needed it from every single one of their stars last night. Got it from Fox there in the third quarter. I have a De'Aaron Fox take I would like to put a pin in because we've got to get to quick thought number 2.
Quick thought number 2. DeRozan had his 7th straight 20-plus point game performance to open his career with the Sacramento Kings. He's now tied with Chris Webber for the franchise record of 7 straight 20-plus point performances. Again, DeMar DeRozan has been everything the Kings thought that they were getting and more. Just look, he's averaging 25.4 per game, 4 assists, 4.3 rebounds, 2 steals. He's shooting 35.3% from 3. Like, he's doing every single thing you could possibly ask for. Does he take a bad shot here and there? Maybe. But overall, I think he's been really good for the Sacramento Kings.
Can I declare something right now? Can I make a prediction?
As long as you're not going to declare bankruptcy.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. Number 3. No, I'm joking. I think he's going to get to 8 straight 20-point games to open his career with the Sacramento Kings.
I agree.
I don't think the Toronto Raptors are gonna have enough for him at G1C tomorrow.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think
scorching hot take.
He's going to come out looking to score, and I think he'll get to 20. It's almost effortless. Like last night, he was at 15. It's like, how did he get to 15?
Yeah, well, he's going to get. I think he only made, what did he get, 5 free throws last night?
Something like
so
that.
It's a little bit of an outlier last night, but you can count on he's going to go get 7, 8 just at the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
And his shot volume is going to be there to get to 20. I don't think there's going to be a ton of games where he doesn't score 20 this season. Number 3.
Sabonis got bloodied. He finished with 16, 16, 7 and the game winner. But this is one of those games where someone needs to protect Sabonis. Like, I know the punch to the face was inadvertent, but inadvertent doesn't matter when you go to you go up to the head on in the NBA. That should have been reviewed. It should have been looked at. He bloodied his lip and his nose. I mean, clearly got a cut. And then that wasn't it. He got hit so hard on a rebound attempt in the temple by Bam Adebayo. He got hit multiple times in the head. And like, look, we talk about this all the time with the NFL and CTE and all that stuff. Like, Sabonis could get concussions here because he takes a beating.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we'd really seen that through the first part of the season until last night, where he had to leave the game at one point to go get patched up. And then he said he was lucky he didn't have to go get stitches after the game.
Yeah. Yeah, man. He plays a physical brand of basketball. And I think you see guys like Bam Adebayo, who they mentioned it on the broadcast. Mark Jones said on the broadcast, Bam Adebayo takes this matchup very personally because this is a guy that he's battling for all NBA spots with, and Domas got it last year.
And the year before.
And I think you see the additional effort manifest itself in an uptick in physicality to kind of match Domas's physicality.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is kind of the result of that. I was very surprised they didn't review the play where he was bleeding from the face.
Bleeding from the face. How do you not?
Yeah,
and staggered. I mean, he got popped.
Yeah.
And like, look, he got played. Bam finished with 16 points. They both finished with 16 points. But
he was really good defensively on Bam too.
Yeah, and Domas had 16 rebounds to Bam's 9, 7 assists to Bam's 5. Bam did have 3 steals and 4 blocks. So defense is where Bam is always going to have a little bit of a advantage over Sabonis. But again, I think Sabonis has been playing very well defensively.
Yep, same. I think he was the defensive player of the game last night. Number 4.
Murray was in attack mode.
Was he?
He was early. So my thing with Keegan is it's not always about like how many times he hoists a shot. He had 11 shots, that's fine, but he had 3 huge dunks, and where he aggressively went to the basket and went up where there could have been traffic and threw down a dunk. And for me, that's where it's like, okay, he's getting it. Like, in order for him to score in transition or score like off a pump fake, like there are times where he's taking it to the rim and it's soft. And I don't think that's what we're seeing anymore.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, at
14
points,
seeing him score off the bounce is nice.
Yeah.
11 shots, 4 3-point attempts.
Well,
I guess.
I just like when Malik Monk shoots 11 shots and Fox gets 21 and DeRozan gets 18. Like, you start running out of shots at some point unless you're manufacturing more and more shots. And the Kings aren't the fastest team in the NBA right now, and especially
only
against
86 shot attempts last night.
Well, Miami Heat was 29th in pace coming in. We talked about that yesterday.
Yeah. You see why.
Slows it down.
I do not. Can I, real quick, Kyle's quick thought, number 1. The Miami Heat are the least aesthetically pleasing team in basketball.
Yeah.
Every shot they take, it looks like a chore. Duncan Robinson had a couple of good looks last night. Tyler Hero had a couple of good looks last night from the perimeter. But it felt like every other shot they took, it took them 20 seconds on the shot clock to get to it, and it was a turnaround, contested, mid-range jumper. Even a couple of the threes Duncan Robinson hit were really well contested.
Oh, they were.
It just there is so much effort for the Miami Heat to create offense. and I did not have a fun time watching them.
No, the only guy who I thought like looked like he was loose, and it was because the Kings didn't guard him, and that was Larson. I don't even know who Larson is. Pella Larson.
Pella Larson, yeah, the great Pella Larson.
Yeah, I have no idea, but
he's Swedish.
Yeah, he hit the Kings for 3 of 5 from 3 for 13 points. That's the one guy who did look open.
It's just peak Miami Heat. The Miami Heat have so many dudes I've either never heard of or have only heard of because of the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
Pella Larson, Duncan Robinson, Haywood Highsmith.
Oh yeah.
Like, sure, man. Yeah. These are guys.
You didn't get busted up by Alec Burks, though.
No.
Or Josh Richardson.
0 for 3, Josh Richardson, 0 for 4.
Those two combined to go 0 for 7. They are bona fide Kings killers.
They listened to the Purple and Black pregame show and heard your keys.
There it is.
That's exactly what happened. They sit around the radio like a fireside chat with FDR in the 40s.
That's right.
Excuse me, the 30s.
30s.
And they
I mean, it was late 20s to 40s. I mean,
yeah, it was a lot. He was president for a long
president.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sitting around fireside chats with James, and they're like, okay, what are the keys to this game? Oh, Alec Burks, that's good. Hey, write that down.
Write that down. That guy torches us. He does. He hates us.
Haywood Highsmith, write that down. Josh Richardson, get his name.
Get his name.
Get his number. We have to guard him.
That's right.
I forget what number we're on.
We're on number 4.
Okay, thanks.
Keon Ellis got to start. Again, I thought Keon Ellis was really good defensively. He's got to stop fouling so much. That's one thing that keeps standing out. But 7 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 steals, active hands, 3 of 6 from the field. That's a Keon Ellis starting game, and the plus 22. It shows you that he does make an impact on the field, on the court. I don't want to read too much into plus minus, but again, when you have 3 guys on your team have a plus, and one of them is Keon Ellis, who has a plus 22, which is more than everyone else combined. You did pretty well.
That was number 5, by the way. That was quick thought number 5.
My bad.
Yeah, man, I wasn't not like worried about Keon starting, but I was definitely keeping an eye on how does he respond here, because he had we talked about this yesterday when who starts in lieu of Kevin Huerter if Huerter can't go. And my worry with Keon was it looked like he was struggling a little bit to start the year with his role and exactly what he should be doing. And I thought it might be a mistake putting him back in the starting lineup where, hey, his role is going to be not necessarily different, but the players around him are going to be different. And how does he respond to that? And I thought he was great. He did all of the things that A, he's been doing off the bench, and B, that made him such an effective player last year. Like, you see why we spent a lot of the summer thinking that he was going to start at the 2. Not only because of Kevin Huerter's injury situation, but because, man, he's a super, super effective player.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Really, really good last night. Salute to Keon. Number 6.
Malik Monk had a huge dunk late. It was he's done it already a couple of times this season where he's just flown through the lane and just hammered down on people. He's a little off to start the season, but I'm going to say, first of all, he's the guy, we talked about this leading into the year. He's the guy who has to run that second team, and he's the one who's going to have to figure out how to put the pieces together. And I think so far they're struggling to do that. 13 points, 3 assists on the season, 3 rebounds. He's shooting 31.4% from 3, but that's not a big deal. To me, he still needs that guy that he can get in the pick and roll with. They just do not have it right now off the bench. And, again, Mike is going with a very small rotation, and there isn't a player on this roster right now that I think can be that lob threat for him. And that's a little tough.
Yeah, it's one of the things. We talked about it the entire offseason. The DeMar DeRozan upgrade was great. The Kings are going to be better this year. Or they say should be better this year than they were last year. But man, that piece of the roster, maybe, and like you said, maybe it's Orlando Robinson. Maybe he comes in and he's just that dude and he fills the JaVale McGee role and everything is hunky-dory again. But aside from kind of big picture Malik's role, there are not that many things I like watching more in the NBA right now than when Malik takes off.
Oh, yeah.
Because shorter players, not that he's a short guy, 6'3".
Yeah.
But shorter players, in NBA terms, dunking just looks cooler. Like Victor Wembanyama, when he dunks, it looks dumb. Like it's silly.
On occasion, he does something that like it goes beyond that, where he takes off from like way outside.
Sure. But when he caught a lob last night from I think it was Chris Paul. Caught a lob last night, and he doesn't even have to jump. Like it doesn't look as fun. When Malik detonates like that, it's great. It is one of my very favorite things to watch.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we're seeing Ja Morant finally get his legs back, and we're seeing him do that as well. And I agree, the smaller, like that size player, 6'2", 6'3", it just looks cooler. It's more
1,000%.
fun. Yeah, I'm here for it. I think
Spud Webb, Nate Robinson,
yeah,
just looks cool when those guys dunk.
I wish Malik would get a slam dunk invite, although I don't think he really wants it anymore. There was a point where he did, and I don't think he'll get the invite, but I would still like to see it.
I wouldn't be shocked if he got one last year and said, I'll take some days off instead of hanging out in Indiana. That would not shock me whatsoever.
No, that's true. Yeah.
Maybe he'll go to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Are we going to San Francisco?
Yeah, I think we are.
You decide that? Okay.
I think they're lining something up there.
I'm putting us in an email thread with the people I know down there to get us a studio. I'm going to reserve us a studio.
Okay.
To do our show from down there.
Yeah, they're talking about like Radio Row, if there is a Radio Row. But I don't know that there
is
really
that a thing?
is. I don't think there is.
Let's make one.
Okay.
Just us. We can invite 95.7.
We'll just go sit on the street.
Hang out, and we'll just be a Radio Row of 2.
Radio Row 2. There it is.
It's just radio.
Yeah.
Not really a row.
No, not really a row.
Radio pair.
Okay.
I don't know. I said I had a De'Aaron Fox take.
Okay.
That I would like to get to. He's James. I'm Kyle. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. This is the Insiders here on ESPN 1320, Sacramento's sports leader. I'm going to take this time real quick to remind you that you can. Where did my paper go? Oh, it's over here. Nope, it's not. Where is it? There it is. I want to remind you this is not the right thing. Whatever. I stink. You can download the James Ham and Kyle Madsen Show podcast wherever you get your podcast. That is the Insiders podcast version.
The Insiders, the podcast version, which is called the James Ham and Kyle Madsen Show.
Right. Download that, subscribe wherever you get your podcast. We would really appreciate that. So if you do miss anything, we're live from 10 a.m. to noon. But if you miss anything, all of the content is available at the James Ham and Kyle Madsen Show podcast, wherever you get your podcast. All right, De'Aaron Fox. Maybe this was obvious to everybody else, and I'm just catching up here. But given Domantas Sabonis, given the inclusion of DeMar DeRozan, given a potential leap from Keegan Murray, given what Malik Monk means to this team, I had some questions about what this looked like for the Kings in a big spot. Just fourth quarter of a playoff game, 5 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
Whose team is it? The Kings are still very much going to go as far as De'Aaron Fox takes them.
I totally agree.
Like that, for as great as Domantas Sabonis is, and I think he's been even better this year than he was last year, as outstanding and beyond my expectations that DeMar DeRozan has been, it is still very clear to me that when De'Aaron Fox is as good as he was last night, it takes the Kings to a level that they can't get when he is taking a backseat. He is still, to me, their 1A. Again, this is not to say that he has to be the guy down the stretch of every game. We've espoused the contributions of 4 other players late in last night's game.
Mm-hmm.
But when they needed it, when they were down 15 in the third quarter and starting to let go of the rope, it was De'Aaron. He is still that dude. He is still capable of getting to his spot in the mid-range whenever he wants. He can get to the basket whenever he wants. If he starts shooting the 3 with more consistency here, he's going to be able to get that whenever he wants. I think that it's going to take. Obviously, it's a team sport. Everybody's going to contribute. Sometimes some guys are going to have big nights, but the Kings are going to go as far, especially in the postseason, as De'Aaron Fox is going to take them. And that became very, very clear to me last night.
No, I'm with you. I think not only is he the guy that can score and can, like make the engine run, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's also quietly developing into one of the better on-ball defenders at the point guard position in the league.
Mm-hmm.
He currently is in the top 5 in steals. Again, he led the league last year, right around 2.1, 2.2 steals. He's
Mm-hmm.
2.1 right now. He's like second in the league in deflections per game, but overall he leads the league in deflections. Like there are things that he's doing to make himself into a more well-rounded, better player.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be a statistical leap. It just, you have to be more consistent. So far, I think that would be my one complaint. We haven't seen the consistency from him, not from one game to the next and not from one quarter to the next. But I also would point out that he's really trying to learn how to play with a incredibly ball dominant player. And he's never had to do that before. Even Tyrese Halliburton wasn't this type of ball dominant player where you throw it to him and you don't know that you're getting it back. And I know that DeRozan has some assists, but man, this dude's shooting 18 shots a game. Like he's averaging 18 shots a game. That's a lot. If he gets closer down to 15, I think number one, he'll be more efficient, but he'll also, it'll fit more into what the Kings are doing. He's at 17 per game right now. So look, I think it's tough. I think Fox is sort of feeling out the situation a little bit. And then he got the message, whoever had the message at halftime, whether it was him or it was someone else, he got the message and took it to heart and went out and played out of his mind and saved the Kings.
Yeah, man. I would love to see that, like you said, on a more consistent basis now. Because I think when we start seeing that on a more consistent basis, we're not going to see the Kings sitting at 4-3. And a game over. Like I really think we could see them take off and hit a new level.
He's a guy that can make them into a 55 win team. Like I think as a whole, they're a 48 to 52 win team. If you want to be a 55 win team, it's because De'Aaron Fox took another leap.
Right there with you, man. 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. That's the Elk Grove Kia talk line. Again, we don't have a call screener, so it's just going to ring until we can kind of get to you. So, Don, thanks for hanging out on the line. You're on the air with the Insiders. James and Kyle, what's up? Hey, Don. Don, you're on the air. Hello. I'm talking to you. 3. Hello? 2. And he's gone. This is why the Don bit sometimes doesn't work.
Yes.
Because that person did not know he's Don.
Oh, got it. But Kyle, we've been doing this for like 15 months.
Yeah, but people, new listeners, if you were just on the phone and you got hung up on, call back and you're Don. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Very proud of you.
Everyone who calls is Don.
Yeah.
Except for Mitch. Mitch is Mitch.
Mitch.
Everyone else is Don. Come
Even
on.
when I know it's not.
That's right.
916-909-1320. Again, that's the Elk Grove Kia talk line. We are taking phone calls. Oh, there we go. Don, we're trying again. You're on the air. What's up?
Hey, I thought you said Don. My name's Sam.
Oh, sorry, Sam. Our call screener got your name wrong.
That's why I never responded.
Okay.
Number one, I think you're 100% right on De'Aaron Fox. He's been looking really good, but I think that DeMar DeRozan has taken some of the pressure off of him, which now allows him to get more assists and probably more steals, better defense. And I think that's what he's feeling is the relief that DeMar DeRozan is giving him and the freedom it's going to give him to take us to that next level. But my question is that being on the inside, I kind of question how Malik Monk was going to continue to be the sixth man. In the first couple of games, I was a little bit suspicious, but it looks like he's filling the role. And what's the inside position on that?
Well,
thanks, Don. Appreciate the call.
I think Malik, Mike Brown the last 2 years has focused on Malik being the sixth man, and I don't think anything's changing. I mean, he's the dynamic player that you need to mix things up and just look at the energy he brings to the court. There's no reason for the Kings to make a move there, in my opinion. Like if they lose a couple of players, maybe there's a point where he slides into that spot. But if you did that, you better have somebody else that can fill his role. And as of right now, I don't know who that would be. Clearly, the Kings don't have somebody that can fill that role, and they would have to go find that. And so you need that punch off the bench.
And I think the other thing too is with Malik specifically figuring out, like, he's in the 6-man role still, obviously, and I think he's going to stay there. But it's not the exact same role that it was last year.
No.
The 6-man on this team requires they require something a little bit different from him. Like last year, he was the guy. He was ostensibly their second scorer, like their go-to guy offensively.
Yeah. And
now with Sabonis being a little more aggressive offensively, Keegan being a little more aggressive offensively, DeMar DeRozan being as ball dominant as he is, like I don't think the opportunities are going to be the same for Malik. Not to mention what we just talked about, not having the lob threat. Like that's so much of what made him successful last year was that pick and roll, getting downhill and either hitting that lob or getting a shot up, getting a spray three. That's not there. And so it's an adjustment for him too in that 6-man role, figuring out what they need from him and when, and B, figuring out how to navigate without that big roll into the basket.
Yeah,
that lob threat roll into the basket.
We talked about this. DeMar DeRozan takes 9 more shots per game than Harrison Barnes did last year.
Yeah, man.
That's
a lot of shots.
Where do you find those shots? And right now, 1.5 of those shots has come right off the top of Malik's totals.
Yeah.
So it's not easy.
Nope, not at all. You had some takes based on last night's game. Yes?
Yeah.
Correct?
Of course.
You wrote them down?
Uh-huh.
One of them is that the Kings struggled to defend the 3 again. They're 19th in the league in 3-point percentage allowed at 37.2%. That number for all of last season would have been 22nd in the league.
Okay.
How big of a deal is this? Like if they finish 22 this year at 37.2%, does that drop their ceiling? Was that baked into your preseason thoughts of what this team would be?
No, I don't think so, because this is exactly who they were last year. I think they're better defending the 3 this year than they were. They were 29th last year.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Yeah, it was really bad, and they got so much better after the All-Star break. I think that they will get better as the season goes on, but realistically, I'm not that concerned about it. I'm just not. I mean, look, you can be concerned about it, but bigger things are your overall defensive rating. Bigger things are, your ability to protect the rim. You can't not protect the rim and not protect the 3. I think they're doing a good job there. And it's not super simple, but
we know they can do it, right? Like we saw them improve last year. I don't think it's a scheme thing. I don't think yesterday, Tyler Hero hit a couple of tough contested ones. Duncan Robinson hit a couple of tough contested ones. And that's what those guys do. It's not Rando going out and having a career high, 25% career 3-point shooter hitting 5 of 6.
Well, I mean, but it's Garrison Matthews and it's Larson. It's like tertiary players from the other team. You're doing a good job on their stars, but you're not doing a great job on these other guys.
I don't think this is this to me, again, 51-31. Oh, hey, we're super late. That's my bad. We'll pick this up in a minute here on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader.
Sweet.
Hey, it's the Insiders, James and Kyle with Jiffy Lube. It is that time of year again. The weather's getting cold. It's going to start to get rainy, and that means that holiday season is here. Holiday shopping and driving with your family and friends. Jiffy Lube is your holiday driving headquarters with fast oil changes, wiper blades, light bulbs, and many more services to get your car ready to hit the road.
Yeah, Jiffy Lube is super thankful for all of their customers. They've been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1984. They open each morning at 7:30 a.m., Monday through Saturday. This is your go-to shop to get your car staying on the road.
Hell yeah. So get ready for the holiday driving season. Visit jiffylube.com to find a location near you and valuable oil change coupons. That's right. Get those coupons before you head into Jiffy Lube. Again, jiffylube.com. Find the location nearest you and valuable oil change coupons. And we're clear. Good work, everyone. We did it. We
We
did
it.
Really proud of us. Really proud of us for doing it right today. I'll be right back. I'm going to try and.
Oh, no stress. Hello everyone. Yeah, Zach, I saw you put this up there earlier. I think the Kings are trying to win games, in all honesty. I think that's what Mike is doing. I would like to tell you that they're trying to build value in Kevin so that they could shop him down the road, but I don't know what the answer would be if they did that. Because like watching Jordan McLaughlin, I'm not sure that he's like a standard rotational player for this team. Colby Jones never took some leap that we thought he might do. Whether Mason Jones can be a reliable piece or whatever. But my point is that like Kevin Huerter has been very good and very valuable for the Sacramento Kings this year. And like the goal might be here to be good with Kevin Huerter and not just build his value and then trade him. I mean, he's under contract this year and all of next year as well. So I don't know. I mean, it's always possible that you need his contract to make a deal because he's the largest, like sort of mid-range contract that you have. But I don't know. So no, I don't think he's not starting because he's starting. He's not starting so they can shop him. He's starting because he's like super valuable to what they're doing right now. What's going on, Norm? We talked about this before the show, but I just want to mention it again. We lost one of our own here in the chat. Roar Dog, Rory Cornell passed away on October 16th. So if you hear people or you see people in the chat saying RIP Rory, that's why. We don't know what happened. He's a guy that I battled with every once in a while here, but no issues with him. He seemed like a nice guy when I met him once or twice. And just thoughts and prayers out to his family. Not quite sure what exactly happened here with Rory, but he passed away, I think, at the age of 42, 43. So.
All right.
Kyle's back.
We've done it.
We've done it.
I received a text from Gavin of the Wake Up Call. It said, "Hey, I left food in the studio. Can you go put it in the fridge?" Yeah, man, I got it.
Okay, I got you. I'm the only one while I'm on the air. Come on.
Well, he said I left food in the studio, and I got really excited because I thought he was going to say, "You can have it."
Oh.
Like, can you put it in the fridge?
Yeah. Yes, Jay, he was a Cal Poly slow guy. I grew up in Turlock. Oh.
Okay. 15 seconds. I don't know where my reeds went. Did I hand them to you?
No, I pulled mine out of my bag.
I made a whole thing.
Oh, is it this?
Yep.
That's the back. It's on the back page of your second page of the rundown.
No, it's not.
Oh.
I only printed one because you had yours.
Got it.
Hour number 2. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're rocking with you until noon. Then we'll hand it off to D-Lo and KC. Want to hit the Elk Grove Kia talk line? Feel free, 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. I see a couple of you on hold now. We'll get to you here shortly. I wanted to finish up the conversation we were having before we ran into radio responsibilities, talking about the Kings' 3-point defense and how big of a deal it is,
Yeah.
or is not. Here's my thing with it. Right now, it doesn't. Again, 51-31 is my bar for them this year. That's where I believe they'll get.
Okay.
And I'm going to base everything off of, is this a thing that moves me further away from that or further toward it or above it? And the 3-point defense doesn't move me enough to go, oh man, I don't think they can make the playoffs because of this. If teams were shooting 48% against them or something insane.
Last year, it was like 42, 43% midway through the season.
And it
like
was
41%.
Right. And if that's what it was again this year, then I'd be like, yeah, you can't sustain this. You can't win enough games doing this. And you see it bear itself out. Like almost, I think the Lakers were the only team that made the playoffs who were behind the Kings worse. Here we go. Who were worse at 3-point defense than the Kings are this season. But I think the Kings are better than the Lakers. So that's kind of where that lands for me. I think it'll matter whether you can go get stops in the playoffs. If you can, in the postseason, drop that number some to 35%, if you can lock in for a handful of defensive possessions and be a good perimeter defending team or 3-point defending team in a close playoff situation, then I don't think it's that big of a deal. And we've seen the Kings be better at it. They've been better this year than they were last year, which leads me to believe there's improvement to go. I think they have the personnel to do it. So for me right now, it's not that big of a deal. Like they might lose a game or two because of 3-point shooting this year, but I don't see a fundamental flaw in like, oh man, they just, this is a thing they can't do and they're going to lose playoff games because of it.
No, I'm with you too. And then you also have to remember that the game is called differently in the playoffs, that teams play defense like in the playoffs a lot, on every possession. I think the Kings like overall have been really good. You can't, when you have a bunch of deflections and a bunch of steals, that means that your defense is gambling a little bit, right? It's also why the Kings have extra fouls, right? It's because they're gambling a little bit on the defensive end. They're hedging. Like if a guy has a ball on the perimeter on one side and he's got, say, Keon Ellis in front of him, the second that he starts to go towards the middle of the key, whether it's De'Aaron Fox or it's Trey Lyles, whoever is standing right there is reaching over and getting in the way and at least swatting at the ball and causing like a traffic jam, right? That's their defense. But what happens is when you shrink down like that and you're trying to like take away something from somebody, if they're quick and moving the ball, they can beat you with that. So your rotations have to be crisp. Everybody has to give a second effort. Again, if Trey Lyles is reaching over to help slow down Keon Ellis's man, his man's at the top of the key. You need the next guy, whoever that might be, Malik Monk, to shift up and take that guy. You're going to need a rotation. Someone's going to have to get the corner three. They're giving up shots partially because of their scheme, but also like, look, they're getting busted up by sort of the randos of the other team. And while they're good shooters, right? They're not Doug McDermott walking in the game and everyone in the league knows he's a bucket.
Sure.
And you're getting beat by Garrison Matthews. You're getting beat by,
Pella Larson.
Yeah, Larson last night. That's much better than getting beat by Jimmy Butler for 45 points or something.
Yeah.
Like you have to give up something when you're trying to take away. And so I don't know. And I also point out like what we saw from like in preseason where the Kings gave up 29 3-point makes to the Golden State Warriors, right? Is it possible the Warriors are just incredible at shooting the 3-point shot? And
it might be,
because it sure does seem like that's what's happening, that the Warriors are, they're shooting 42 threes a game and they're hitting 39.1% of those. They're averaging 16.4 makes per game. It's possible the Warriors are just a great 3-point shooting team. And we just saw like an early window into that. But Kyle, I'd also point out for as good as they were the first game, they weren't nearly as good in the second game. And I think the Kings showed that they can improve and also that the Warriors can miss shots.
Yeah. Also, Miami's really good at shooting the three this year. What did they shoot last night? 41.7%. They're 38.2% for the year.
Yeah.
So they're a good 3-point shooting team. I didn't think that 3-point defense was bad last night was a thing. The Heat made a couple of really tough contested shots that all right.
Yeah.
Like if those don't go down, the percentage looks a little different. So I don't know. The bigger issue for me is the 10 of 27 for the Kings. That's something the 27 3-point attempts is the thing that jumps out to me there, but I'm not, again, it's one game early in the year. I'm not hyper concerned about that.
Yeah, they're 24th in the league, shooting 33.1%. But the way you make up for that is the Kings are first in the league at 58.6% on 2-point shots.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just doing a really good job of getting to the rim or getting to spots on the floor where they can score.
Yeah. 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. That's the Elk Grove Kia talk line. We'd love to hear from you after the Kings 111-110 win over the Miami Heat last night. Don, you're on the Insiders. What's up?
Am I Don?
Yeah, you're Don. You're on the air. What's up?
Okay, great. A quick thought before my question. You mentioned the podcast name. If we're not going to call it the Insiders, I think we should call it the Mad Hammer Podcast.
Oh,
Mad Hammer Podcast. I'll pitch that to corporate.
There we go.
Great.
Okay.
What else we got?
So, the putback last night by Domas, amazingly clutch, fantastic moment. I was screaming in the living room, right?
Nice.
But if that doesn't go down, we're having a very different conversation that we've had many times about how the Kings close games, right? And if we've got DeMar on the team and we're closing with Malik, DeMar, and Fox, who are all great closers, amazing shot creators, which I like. I love it. It's an awesome lineup. But yet, the end of the game came down to De'Aaron has the ball at the top near the half-court line, drives into three dudes in the paint, and he turns around and takes a fade, which is not a bad shot for De'Aaron. I like De'Aaron having the ball. I don't have any problem with him taking that shot. But what's different about that scenario from any of the previous years where everyone stands off to the side and De'Aaron tries to win the game? If we've got these shot creators on the floor, isn't there more room for creative playmaking? They had 10 seconds there on that inbound. They didn't have to catch and shoot.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah, we ended up in the same exact scenario we've ended in over and over again. And if Domas doesn't catch that ball, tip it back to himself and put that back in, I think you're going to have a lot of angry callers today. You know what I mean? And I feel like we could put so much more of this lineup to use, and we could get a lot more creative with the kind of shots we could make for the team.
Interesting. Thanks for the call. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So, look at, I think that every team coming down the stretch of a game with 7 seconds or 10 seconds left, whatever it was, Kings inbound, you're going to do what's called a 4 flat.
Yep.
You're going to have your star at the top. Sometimes you run a screen for him. Sometimes you don't.
Hunt a mismatch. Yep.
You're going to hunt a mismatch. Exactly. And you're going to go. De'Aaron Fox has an ability to get anywhere on the court.
Yep.
And so I had no problems with the idea of what happened was what they did. What I loved is that we heard about the crash zone.
Yep. That's
again and again and again and again. Go back and watch the play. Every single player outside of De'Aaron Fox is in the crash zone.
Yep.
And that's why they got the ball. Keegan Murray was underneath. Keegan Murray, if that ball would have popped off the rim, Keegan Murray was right there to try to tap it back in with 0.7 seconds left.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, they did the best they could do in that situation, and that's just a standard thing.
Yep.
Yeah, you're not going to get too intricate with 10 seconds left in a game and one final play.
Yeah, and limiting the amount of passes limits the potential for turnovers or miscommunications. If Jimmy Butler doesn't leave, I think it was DeMar who he was defending, if he doesn't leave DeMar DeRozan to make a pretty remarkable contest, I think De'Aaron hits that. Because he got space, he got open, and it's like, yeah, De'Aaron Fox shooting a turnaround jumper from 15, I don't hate it.
Yeah.
So I get the idea, you want to see a little bit more creativity maybe in that spot, but like you said, there's no team in the league that doesn't do some kind of variation of that.
No, it's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
And it could have been DeRozan, it could have been Monk.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been anyone. The fact is that the only reason you're in that game is because De'Aaron Fox put you on his back and carried you through the third quarter.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I want to see if I can get nice. Okay, sweet. I wasn't sure if I could get a caller from on hold on air.
Oh.
Because I went at the break, somebody was calling, and I actually got to take the call.
Okay.
Which is new for us. So I was hoping that I would be able to take this caller, and we can. Don, you're on the air with the Insiders. What's up?
Hey, first time on hold. How you guys doing?
Hey, congratulations.
Yes.
You're the first person to ever be on hold on this program.
We did it.
In honor of that, we'll ask you your real name.
I've called before, but I just usually bypass it. This is Big E.
Big E.
Oh,
Okay,
what's
very
up,
good.
Big
What's
E?
up, E?
Yo, so I just got to say, James already talked about it, but Sabonis is an absolute gladiator. My man looked like he went 3 rounds in the octagon last night. And as far as DeMar goes, he already had his welcome to Sacramento back in the day over Summer League, actually, when we all clapped and hyped him up. But I feel like he finally had his welcome to being a King last night, where Sabonis goes straight up for a rebound, and then Bam jumps into him. They call a foul, and then you see Monk, DeMar, and Sabonis all throw their hands up in the air in unison. Like, what's going on? Thank you, guys.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate the call, Big E. I will say, after the Domas game winner, the chaos of celebration, oh my God, we got to get him off the ground, oh my God, we might have to play defense, was really enjoyable.
It was hilarious.
It was, because what are you supposed to, if they threw the inbound ahead, you're not going to go defend it.
Nope.
But like the reaction is like, oh, we got to get off the floor. Oh, we want to stop. It was great.
Yep.
I really enjoyed that moment. Really good early season moment.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, that's what you need. You need something like coming out of this this 4-game road trip, like build off of. And that is a huge building block win. I mean, we talk about signature wins or whatever.
Yeah.
That might be it. That might be the win that we like pencil in and go, okay, it was that moment where they started to become a team, where they started to take turns, where they started to understand that it doesn't have to be one guy at the end of a game, where Fox, Monk, Sabonis, and DeRozan all had huge moments in the final 2 minutes of the game. And that's what you need. This team is not built with one LeBron James.
No,
It's just not. And very few teams. This is not the Luka Doncic show. It's a bunch of guys who are really, really good, but they need to figure out how to play together still.
Yeah. I was going to do this really strained, like, first full circle moment thing, because De'Aaron had the putback dunk in 2018 against Miami, and this time he was the one taking the shot, and it was Sabonis doing the putback, but I didn't get there.
Is that the last time
I couldn't make it super strange.
I'm going to guess that's the last time that they beat.
January of 2018.
Is that the last time they won
19,
in Miami?
20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
Well, it's
and if
possible
they didn't
though.
go there in 20.
Yeah, it's possible that they're
I was trying to find who took the shot that De'Aaron had the dunk. Oh, it's Bogdan.
Oh,
The little Bogdan midi that
Oh.
De'Aaron dunked for an 89-88 win over the Miami Heat back in January of 2018.
yeah. The last road win for the Kings in Miami was October 29, 2018.
Oh, so that same year, but the following season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that was January of 18, the 17-18 season. Yeah. Really good win, man. That's what I got. Speaking of really good, we're going to have our first live show ever on Monday, November 11th at 32 Brewer Street. It's inside Sky River Casino, the first ever Insiders live show. And it's on a holiday.
Oh,
So come hang out. We got a couple of fun things going on. So first of all, we're going to be there 10 to noon doing our show. D'Lo and KC will then be there from noon to 4 doing their show. There's a Kings game afterwards. I imagine there will be some lingering and some hanging out. I don't know who's staying, but there's might not be a better spot in the greater Sacramento area to watch a Kings game that's not Golden One Center.
yeah.
If you can't be there live, if you're looking for a place to watch, 32 Brewer Street is legit. There are TVs everywhere. The food is great. The beer selection, ton of local brews. It's outstanding. I really, really enjoy 32 Brewer Street, and I hope to see you there. We'll also be doing a canned food drive as well as Socktober overtime. So according to Damien, I was listening to D'Lo and Casey yesterday, Sky River is waiving this rule that they normally have just for us.
Uh-oh.
You wouldn't be able to bring in like a random pair of socks. You wouldn't be able to bring in like some canned food.
Okay.
Typically, you can't do that. but they're waiving that rule for Socktober overtime in the canned food drive that we are doing. So if you're going to come out, bring a canned food item, bring some new in the package socks as well, and help a good cause.
That's
while hanging out with the homies over at 32 Brew Street inside Sky River Casino. Again, show starts 10 a.m. Monday, November 11th. Hope to see everybody. Love the live shows, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Have a really good time.
Yep.
We met at a live show.
We did.
At
That's the
32
first time.
Brew Street.
That's the first time we ever met. I think you bought me a beer.
Not the first time we'd ever been in the same building. We worked together at NBC.
We just didn't know each other.
Didn't know each other. The other takeaway from the Kings game, I want to get to the NFL trade deadline. The 49ers, at least last time I checked, hadn't done anything. Do you have an update on that? I'm refreshing my page now to see if the 49ers have done anything. They have not, according to what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Nothing yet for the 49ers, but we'll get to some other NFL trade deadline stuff maybe in the next segment. But one of the other takeaways for me last night, and you had this as well, is the fact that, okay, De'Aaron was the guy who took the last shot, but I thought down the stretch of that game, they figured out a little bit what this should look like in a close game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Big E was right. If Domas misses that shot, maybe we're nitpicking a couple of possessions here and there. DeMar had a turnover late. Whatever. It was De'Aaron, a De'Aaron turnaround jumper. Was that the best shot in that spot? I get we would do the normal radio thing.
I agree, but I think we'd also look and see that Miami would be 5-3 and the number 3 seed in the Eastern Conference and go,
maybe.
Hey, look, it's not a great team, but it's not a horrible team. And last
game of a road trip.
Last game of a road trip, your first road trip, which is never easy. So yeah, first road trip, 3-1.
Yeah, man, you'll definitely take it. But I thought the fact that De'Aaron Fox, DeMar DeRozan, Malik Monk, Domantas Sabonis, all of them had moments in the last 5 minutes. That's a pretty significant deal, man.
Yeah. No, I totally
figuring it out.
Yeah. Yeah, you got DeRozan with the 18-foot step back. You got DeRozan with the 27-foot pull up 3 for and got the and 1.
Mm-hmm.
The driving dump by Monk, like all of it. The finish there by Domas, like this was like a very, very good team effort.
Yeah.
And that's how this team needs to win.
Yep. I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah.
Some NFL trade deadline action real quick. We'll dive all the way into it in the next segment. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell the Cowboys are doing.
I think they are also trying to figure out what the hell they're doing.
So they traded for Jonathan Mingo, second-year wide receiver out of Ole Miss, who couldn't crack the rotation with the Panthers. And Dak Prescott's going to be out several weeks with a hamstring injury. And so they're trading a 4th-round pick.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot. What did the Chiefs give up for DeAndre Hopkins? Like a 2026 6th?
Oh, yeah.
And they're trading a 4th-round pick for Jonathan Mingo?
Yeah, then
a year after trading a 4th-round pick for Trey Lance, who can't even get on the active roster on Sundays?
Oh, that's wild.
Who's not even going to be the quarterback with Dak Prescott out?
That's wild.
They're toast, bro. The Cowboys stink. They're toast. And then the Lions traded for defensive end Zadarius Smith. Detroit gets Zadarius Smith and a 7th-round pick in the 2026 draft. Cleveland, in return, gets a 2025 5th-round pick and a 6th-round pick in the 2026 draft. Zadarius Smith this season, 27 pressures, 5 sacks. This is the kind of move that I wonder how the hell the 49ers weren't the ones on the receiving end of it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
They need pass rush help.
They do. They need pass rush, and they need like affordable pass rush help. Not someone who's going to break the bank. Someone like what they did last year, where they went out and got Gregory. They got Chase Young. And guys that are young enough to step in and play, but that you're not expecting them to be there long term. Like go do the whole baseball like rental in the final.
Yeah, we've seen him do this before.
Yeah.
And if you know that Zadarius Smith is available, how are you not going, okay, a 2025 5th and a 2026 6th? We'll give you the 2025 5th and a 2026 5th. We'll just up the offer.
Remember last year when we were wondering why they didn't go get the offensive lineman that I think the Yankees traded their guard. And it's like, why wouldn't you? You need guard help, and they got a 6th-round pick for him.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Or maybe they were in the mix, and maybe they said a 2025 fifth is as high as we'll go, and Detroit said, hey, we'll throw in this future sixth, and the Niners said we don't want to do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Which doesn't make a lot of sense, unless you don't think you're a Super Bowl team this year. So we'll see. It doesn't sound like the Niners are going to, I think they might be trying, but given the names out there that I've seen. Also, I saw this weird Tyreek Hill rumor. I would be beyond floored. And it was not a substantiated rumor, but I saw somebody today tweeting about the betting odds and the Niners are up to the number 2 in the betting odds No.
Really?
Yes. Yes, really, but no, that's not a thing.
That's a weird thing.
I asked her I asked around a little bit and not a thing.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
it doesn't get to be a thing just because I Kyle Madsen cannot jump on the radio and go, yeah, the 49ers. I've heard.
Don't do it, Kyle.
Are asking, I'm not even going to say a player because I don't want to. The 49ers are asking, are in on player X. Like, yeah, man. Like, that player's a good, like, would they like to have Tyreek Hill? Like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, why not?
Would they like to have Patrick Mahomes? Like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean they're going to trade.
Maybe you can get them both.
Oh, yeah.
Bring them back together.
Couple of firsts, you think get that
Boom.
done?
That's it. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It's a done deal.
NFL trade deadline in about an hour and a half, an hour and 33 minutes. 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific time is when the deadline is. We'll talk a little bit more about this, about the deadline, and we'll take a look around the NBA last night. Some interesting things happening around the league. While the Kings were getting a W, we'll dive into some of the other NBA action that you might have missed. He's James. I'm Kyle. We're the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube here on ESPN 1320 at Sacramento Sports Leader.
I'll be right back. You
What?
okay?
Yeah. Ah! Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, we're a mess. That's fine. Give me 1 second, y'all. I am officially like, I have to get ready to pick something up off the floor years old. Like as a kid, you can just like, oh, I dropped my pen. Let me go get it. Now it's like, oh, I dropped my pen. All right. I gotta gear up. 1 o'clock is the trade deadline. 1 p.m. Did I get my time? Yeah, I said an hour and a half. That's right. A word, Arson Judge? Hey, Robbie Ray lit it up at the River Cats game I went to. It was awesome. Yeah, dude, it's just the worst. I pray to whatever deity I need to not have back problems. I'm not there yet. I just got, got to stretch. Buddy, same. Shout out to Greg. Shout out to Matt Trition. No. My anxiety is so high today, guys. Hey, word to L Woods. We out here. Well, yeah, I realized I was 25 years old. I was playing softball in Arizona. And Arizona's sick because the softball leagues don't have like off seasons. And most of the leagues are double headers. So I was playing like 3 nights a week. And one season ends, like your playoffs are this weekend, your league starts next weekend. Like it is constant. And I used to do the thing because I started playing softball and I was like 20. No, about 20. Yeah. And I could just go play. I could show up 20 minutes before the game, throw a ball around a little bit, and I was good to go. Right. And so that would be my move. And then one day I was playing shortstop and ground ball. And I literally just everything you do to just plant my feet and I bend down to pick it up. And my hamstring was just like, nope, like this is going to hurt for a month. And then I realized the importance of stretching before activities. No, I did just get a new car. The Hyundai Kona that has a really nice, like, supportive seat, so I don't do anything additional. We did see Ja yesterday. It was really impossible to miss.
He was amazing.
Oh, Joe.
Oh,
Love you, buddy. Yeah, that, like, I know the Saquon reverse hurdle is incredible, but the Ja, I'm going to elevate and bring the ball back like I'm going to dunk, and then bring the ball back down and spin midair to do a 360 to finish a lefty layup. Also an insane feat of athleticism.
oh yeah.
Did you ever game at Rush Park in Citrus Heights? No, I don't think so. I played down what's the one over on
Yeah, I played Rush, and I've also played Fair Oaks.
what's the park there? It's on Howe Park. Howe Park.
Okay.
I think is what it's called. That's where I mostly played. And then I played at the complex down here on 80.
Oh yeah. How? I used to live on Howe and Cottage.
Oh, okay.
Cottage and
Yeah.
Howe.
Oh, yeah. I lived right over there too.
There is a
Shout
park.
out to Elvira.
Yep. I played at Maidu.
I never played at Maidu. Yeah, Howe Park. Yeah.
Yeah, I played in Fair Oaks, and I think that's Fair Oaks Park. And the lights are too low, so if you're playing the outfield and someone hits a high ball, it literally just appears, and you're just guessing where it's going to come down. Yeah, really not great.
Does Mather
Field?
Is that
That's out off
it's
of
like
Watt.
turf?
Oh, that's possible. That
Is
they
it
have a
Mather
turf field.
Yeah, but we had one of these in Arizona. Extremely fire.
I always wanted to go play indoor softball. That looks like a ton of fun.
Yeah, that looks like a blast.
I used to go and hit in the cages all the time at a place in Roseville that had indoor. I played softball forever.
Maybe if I get in better shape, I'll start playing again.
Yeah.
Oh, indoor closed.
Ooh,
Man.
breaking. Packers trading Preston Smith to the Steelers per source.
Sure. Okay, here we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
James Ham there, Kyle Madsen here. The handoff with one of D-Lower KC coming up. Take a look around the rest of the NBA. Real quick on the NFL trade deadline, which is in an hour and 20. Hang on, 1 hour and 26 minutes on the dot. 1 o'clock p.m. today is the NFL trade deadline. Doesn't sound like there's a lot happening for the 49ers right now. Can they afford to stand pat? Like, if they don't make a move at the trade deadline, are they just done being Super Bowl contenders this year?
I don't know if they're... Yeah, probably. I mean, they have, like, clear needs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's very strange to see a team that has this type of talent and this type of needs that are just, like, staring at you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it comes down to, for me, like, could they theoretically, like, if everything goes right, make a run? Sure.
Okay.
But I think they have too many weaknesses that will be really easily exploited by Green Bay, Philly, Detroit, Washington, like all the top teams in the NFC. And that's to say nothing for Baltimore and Kansas City and Buffalo and the AFC's best teams.
Well, even a team like the Commanders is loaded up. They went out and got, Lattimore, a really good cornerback. Like, I don't know. Like, you need to do something. I don't think you don't have to make a trade to make a trade. You have to make a trade because you're not good enough. I say this all the time when it comes to Kings.
Sure. But at the same time, I think trade to make a trade. The 49ers go get KJ Osborne from the Patriots. Like, all right. It moves the needle nothing for me.
Yeah.
Or Kendrick Bourne. Okay, great. It's not moving the needle for me. Preston Smith just got traded, the defensive end from the Packers, to the Steelers. I think he had fallen out of favor a little bit in Green Bay. Wasn't playing as much.
2.5 sacks this year.
Yeah, not a great player. But again, we saw the 49ers had Randy Gregory and Chase Young last year. Maybe they go get a player like Jadeveon Clowney or something. Maybe that's in the cards, and it's just an experienced edge defender who can defend the run a little bit.
Okay.
Can be on the field for all 3 downs and just helps the depth. But I just don't think there's going to be a major game-changing move. And I think that throughout the course of this season, we're going to see they're just a little bit short at a couple of important positions.
Yeah, I actually looking at Preston Smith. I mean, I like what he brings to the table. That's another deal where you're looking at. Although you could say it's possible the Packers don't want to make a trade with a team like the 49ers, who they're competing with for potential playoff spots.
Sure. I wanted to go look at his snap counts because I saw Tyler Jennings ask, why would the Packers be sellers? Yeah, he only played 21 snaps last game against Detroit. Played 54% of the snaps the game before that, 44% the game before that.
Yeah,
I think they're just trying to incorporate a different rotation, maybe. I don't know.
He's 32, and he's got 68.5 sacks in his career.
He has 2.5 sacks, 2 of them against Tennessee.
Oh,
which stinks.
Well, yeah, and that's an easy one there. Like Will Levis just gives everyone 2 sacks.
Yeah,
like you're good.
Oh, pause. Let's look around the NBA. Well, if there's Niners trade deadline news, we'll have it for you. But no motion so far. Around the NBA last night, the Golden State Warriors beat the Wizards 125-112. Buddy Hield continues to cook in Golden State. But check this out. Golden State is on a 5-game road trip right now. They went to Houston and almost smoked a 31-point lead. They went to Washington, where the Wizards are like low-key kind of fun.
Yeah.
They have a lot of good, interesting young players. I don't know about good. They have a lot of interesting young players.
Yeah, I like Koulibaly.
Yeah.
And,
Alex Starr might be all right.
Yeah.
But the Warriors beat them last night. Here's how the Warriors finish up their road trip. At Boston, 7-1.
Yeah.
At Cleveland,
8-0.
8-0.
Mm-hmm.
At OKC, 8-0.
Oh. Wow.
That's a brutal trip.
So what is that? Is that 16?
22-1.
22-1.
Yeah.
All right.
I might have those numbers wrong. Maybe 7-0. It's 22-1. The teams are combined, I believe.
That's wild.
Insane.
Yeah.
So we're gonna learn a lot about Golden State here in the next 3 games.
Yeah, it's 7-1, 8-0, 7-0. Yeah. They start with these 7-1 champs.
Of course. Yeah, the one loss is the defending champs, who are still the best team in the league.
Yeah. And then they go to Cleveland, and then they finish in OKC. Yeah, that's a tough one.
It's a tough trip. Tough trip.
Yeah.
At least it makes logistical sense.
Yeah.
Houston, Washington, Boston, Cleveland, OKC, back home.
And how are the back-to-backs? And
None.
That's nice of the league to not give them November 2nd, 4th, 6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th. That's their schedule. And then they get a 3-day break before they play Memphis again. So, yeah, plenty of nice, leisurely, no back-to-backs.
Well, they led the league in back-to-backs last year, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just early in the season, having a back-to-back in Atlanta and Toronto is
so silly.
We might look at that as one of the worst schedules.
It's like they did it on accident.
Yeah.
Like they meant to schedule the Atlanta game and Miami as the back-to-backs, but accidentally put Atlanta then Toronto and went, oh no, well, you can't fix it now.
I swear that every team should get like a flag that they can throw and say, hey, that stretch right there, I don't want to play that. Somebody, you need to rework that. That's not okay.
Yeah. Well, I know I don't know if this is the case in the NBA, but in the NFL, you can like submit preferences. Like the 49ers don't want home day games early in the season.
Oh.
Because of the sun and the heat.
Oh, yeah.
And there's like the league will, okay, you're not going to do Hard Knocks. Well, then you have to go to Mexico City or play an international game. Okay, you'll coach the Senior Bowl. Okay, so Now you don't have to do Hard Knocks or
That's how
whatever. I don't know why I
Niners
keep bringing up
usually
Hard Knocks.
get out of, right?
They'll do something with their schedule.
Like this Senior Bowl, they like to do that so they don't have to do the other things.
Right. Well, I don't think they like to do the Senior Bowl, but yeah. Or they'll request, okay, hey, we have this East Coast road trip. Can we get these back-to-back games early?
Yeah.
And so they'll start with a couple of games on the East Coast, but I don't know if that works in the NBA. Speaking of Cleveland, your red hot Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh yeah.
Snuck past the Bucks last night, 116-114. I care less about the Cavs here, and I care more about the fact that the Bucks are now 1-5, 1-6.
Mm-hmm.
They're not very good, man.
They're not very good, and Bobby Portis was incredible.
Really, really good player.
What, 21 and 18 with 3 blocks?
Yeah. Starting for Giannis?
Yeah.
Yeah, no Giannis, and the Bucks almost knocked off Cleveland. I don't know what the Bucks are. I don't know what they're doing. We've talked about Bobby Portis and how good of a fit he would be for the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm right there, especially when you see how he played last night. But are they blowing it up? Do you just stick it out because you kind of have to? Are you waiting for Chris Middleton to come back and hope that fixes everything?
Yeah, but
are you trying to trade Dame?
We know that's not going to happen. Like you cannot trade Chris Middleton.
Yeah, no, he's one of those Bradley Beal style contracts.
Yeah, nobody's taking a 32-year-old guy with $60+ million left on his deal that can't play.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen.
Does Dame Lillard have a trade market?
I would test right now. I'd go see if he does.
I
mean, it's possible they snap out of this. I'd like to have some conversations with some people there and like, hey, what exactly is the plan here? And how do you get out of this like crazy spiral you're in? But I just don't think that they're going to be able to.
Yep.
Man, Chris Middleton is owed $31.7 million this year and $34 million next year. And it's a player option.
He's going to pick that up.
I'm
reporting that now.
Out.
I'm reporting that now.
Yeah.
Chris Middleton's going to pick up that option.
Hey, I would take Chris Middleton if he was healthy and all the things that he does. Like, he's great
good player.
shooter. You know, and maybe you could limit his minutes so he can play longer, but not at $34 million.
No.
That's a tough pull.
Yeah, he got that lifetime achievement deal.
He did. Yeah.
Which is fine. You're just going to run into this problem where you've traded for Dame Lillard to make sure that Giannis sticks around, and it turns out they may not like each other.
I don't know if they dislike each other. I don't know what the deal is there. I
don't either.
Again,
it's not good though.
Yeah, the vibes are bad. I think that's what we can say. The vibes are not good.
I'm gonna hit my guy Steve Pfeiffer. He has radio out there in Milwaukee. He's very close to the Bucks. I'm gonna figure out what's happening.
I've got 1 or 2 people I could reach out to there.
Milwaukee Bucks talk tomorrow at 10 a.m.
We will have all of it. We'll break it down for you.
Dialed into what's happening tomorrow. No, but it matters if Bobby Portis and the Kings is going to be a thing.
Well, it's a thing because we keep bringing it up. I don't think it's a thing.
No, right, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we have thrown out this hypothetical. You threw out this hypothetical. I'm glomming onto it. If that's going to continue to be a thing, like a realistic potential possibility, the Bucks would need to be terrible to the point that they're going, okay, we're blowing this thing up. Because if they're going to be good and competitive, they're not moving Bobby Portis.
Nope.
But if they're going to be 1-6, okay. Now it gets a little more interesting. That's why it matters. The Nets beat the Grizzlies 106-104. Shout out to Jordy Fernandez, man. If you said guess the Nets record after 8 games, I'd have been like 1-7.
Yeah.
Not a very talented team.
No. Like I
for Cam Thomas.
2-6.
Goat.
Yeah, your guy.
Love Cam.
They have all the Cams. Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas.
Figuring it out. The Ja Morant fake dunk. Well, first of all, he detonated earlier in the game with a big time dunk.
Yep, which I guess he's known for missing those.
Yeah, because he jumps so high and he reaches back so far.
Yeah.
He doesn't do like when Malik reaches back, he has the arm like bent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's reaching it back to just behind the head. Although I'm sure Malik has better flexibility than I do. So we'll do.
It's possible.
But when Ja does it, he's got the arm like extended. Like he's trying to trebuchet that thing into the hoop. It's like, bro, you're dunking it.
Yeah.
You can just get it right here and throw it down, dog.
So he got one.
Yes.
And then it was showtime. Like
the leaping in the air. If you missed it, he leaps and brings the ball back like he's going to dunk it. And then in midair, brings the ball back down, spins 360, switches the ball to his left hand, and gets the ball on the rim to score a lefty layup.
Yeah, just gorgeous. And he didn't just do it once.
It's like a move he does
2 times. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
What an athlete.
And
what a player.
Then they lost.
And then they fell to the Nets, 106-104. Hey, Zach Edey figuring it out. 25-12 for Zach Edey last night.
Yeah.
Somebody who covers the Grizzlies in Memphis was tweeting about Zach Edey last night and said, you can tell that he's realizing that he's still the biggest guy on the court. And that when he got to the NBA, he was struggling to remember the fact that he's still a giant human.
Oh, yeah.
And that now he's starting to realize that a lot of the things that worked in college by just being big are also going to work here.
Yeah, just push your way under the basket and you can figure things out from
Go
there.
score. Go grab a rebound.
Yeah.
You're a massive human.
I mean, we talked about it. He per 36, he was averaging 0.8 blocks per game.
Yeah. You gotta be better than that.
No, I mean, like he's averaging like 0.4, 0.5, like bad.
That can't be all he is. My Detroit Pistons beat the Lakers 115-103. I think the best thing that could come out of this Pistons year is Jaden Ivey figuring it out. And he was really good last night.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
I think his eventual role is like a 6-man. I think that's where you're kind of maximizing his skill set.
It's either as a 6-man or it's his show. Like that's the option with him.
Right.
Either he's a 6-man or you have to just hand it over to him, which means I don't believe Cade Cunningham can be there. Like I don't think that they can coexist.
That's kind of interesting. Yeah, so the Lakers, after their scorching hot start, are now down to 4-3 and looking a little bit more like the team we maybe thought they'd be.
Yeah, and then Anthony Davis, of course, after the game has a foot issue.
Played 39 minutes last night. LeBron played 40.
Yeah, and they lost.
20 points, 8 boards, 11 assists.
And they lost in a game to the Pistons.
Yeah. Hey, the Pistons won 3 of their last 4.
All right.
My Detroit Pistons are cooking right now, baby.
We each have a couple of teams. Damian Barling is joining us. We each have teams for some reason this year. I don't know how my Cavs are now my team, but that's okay.
It's because you had the Cavs to finish higher in the East than I did.
Third in the East.
Yeah, so that's
healthy. I like that.
Damian Barling, it's time for the handoff. Who's your team in the NBA this year that's not the Kings?
Oh, good question.
The bit for me is I liked the Pistons over 26.5 wins.
Yeah.
So they're my Pistons now.
Okay, I get
your
that.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah. I was going to say it's the same
night.
thing. Yeah, not good. It's not good in the South at all, actually, except for Atlanta. Atlanta might run. We thought this might be. Oh, this division is crazy. They might just run away with the division at this point.
Yeah, dude.
Man, that's tough for my boys last night.
Hey, they gutted that out with no Chris Godwin, no Mike Evans.
Yep.
Put up 24. That's the second most points that the Chiefs had allowed all year.
Yep.
Baker was balling last night. Good for Baker.
Yeah, they almost fought back and did it. Who's my team in that? You know who it might be? You know who I was like a little higher on than like others were?
That's perfect.
I think it was the Pacers.
Your Pacers.
I don't love the sound of that. I don't love that.
They're now called Damian's Pacers.
I don't love that because I haven't really committed to them this year because I was quick to.
Just did.
Yeah, it's too late now.
This is supposed to be a safe space. I'm supposed to be able to tell you guys what's happening.
Okay, go on. Sorry.
Well, no, it's too late now. It's already out there. I can't undo what I just said. But yeah, the Pacers are probably pretty close to that.
I think you were kind of in on Orlando early too, but then
that's Kenny. Kenny's really in on. I mean, obviously the Palo.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just brutal.
And we don't know how long that could be months.
Yeah, like they're trying to be 4 to 6, but man, that's tough.
Did he have surgery?
No.
Oh, so
I don't think so. It's a tear. It is a tear though, isn't it? I don't think he had surgery though.
Okay.
Yeah, he's out like just indefinitely.
Yeah. I don't.
Which is never good.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Especially with an oblique because you just can't do anything.
You can literally do nothing.
You just
like absolutely, and you can't train,
right?
Because there's no part of your body that you can train without causing incredible and the pain. right. It's God. I
If
can't.
you've ever
I
had
can't
a
imagine.
sore oblique,
Yeah,
just
right.
do a good core workout. The next day you're like, okay, here we go. Can't imagine
You're
having a-
moving so and you're limping. Something wrong with your hamstring? No.
It's just my core.
Oh, just did too many crunches yesterday.
Um,
Ab Blaster 2000.
Somebody asked in the chat, is Isaac hurt for the Magic? Come on, P-Dub.
Bro,
He's
okay.
always hurt.
All right. The fascination with Jonathan Isaac in this fan base is fascinating.
So weird.
in theory, he'd be perfect next to Domas. I've
Oh,
heard.
thank
In
you.
theory.
That's good. Yeah. No.
Oklahoma
In
City's
theory, I'm sure he's enjoying today, but go ahead.
well, when you said it was all bad in the South, I was like, what did you hear?
Yikes.
Well, to be clear, it's always all bad in the South when it comes to that.
Oklahoma City is fascinating because they're just as good as everyone suspected they'd be.
Yeah.
Their defense is insane.
Yeah.
Like I know Orlando is missing Paolo, and that's
Mm.
going to make offense a little more laborious for them. But holding an
But-
NBA team to 86 points.
Well, that's what they did like this offseason. Like you look at them like they did what a lot of teams say they want to do, but
Mhm.
don't actually do.
Mhm.
Mike Brown. They went and got better defensively. That
Mhm.
was a shot. That shouldn't have been a shot at
That
Mike.
was
That probably should have been a
crazy.
shot at Monty McNair.
That was nuts.
But
Just
clearly they chose a different
firing
direction,
him
and
up.
I'm happy that they did. They went in the direction that they're
Mhm.
going. They're an improved defensive team based on the guys that they have and the work that they're doing, but they're leaning into what they're great at, and that's
Mhm.
what they're doing on the offensive end. But Oklahoma City took the opportunity, like, no, we were good defensively last year. I think we could be even better. And they went out and did that. And that's pretty impressive. And it's working.
yeah.
Like
And
it's legit.
And I love that they took a young player like Josh Giddey who saved the off court stuff. Just on the court might not have like totally fit or wasn't
Yeah.
going to get the opportunities to do what he needed to do to grow into the player he's going to be.
Mhm.
And they went, oh, we can get Alex Caruso, who just fits perfectly and does everything we need to do with our roster. Great. Here, have this young player. We'll take Alex Caruso. It's brilliant.
I mean, that team is stacked,
They're just
and,
awesome.
and they've got all the pieces in place, and they're going to be as close as you can get to a contender for the Boston Celtics as possible.
Yeah.
But I still think they're beatable, especially this year. Maybe next year, maybe the year after. They're going to get to a point where everyone's looking at them like, oh, that team is not beatable. And that's what you have to worry about with the Kings,
Mhm.
that they open a DeMar DeRozan window, but that window is like 3 years, and that window that OKC has is like 8 years.
It's the Clippers to the Warriors.
Yeah.
The Clippers, I think, had a championship window.
Yep.
That Golden State said, "Oh, that's adorable."
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Like,
almost exactly what
no,
happened.
that's cool. Like, no,
Rockets too.
you guys are cute. Yeah, the Rockets, the same thing. Like, oh, you guys are cute. Our championship window was opening. You guys weren't prepared for that. And oh, by the way, we're going to sign a player that's make sure it's not going to close.
Yeah.
And that team, they look real. Like that 5-1, 6-1, whatever they are. That
Mhm.
doesn't look fake to me. Like the Golden State. I mean, maybe not at that clip for the entire year. I
Sure.
think the Golden State Warriors are really good.
Yeah. They're
Shoot me now.
better than I thought they'd be. Their next 3 games. Do you know what they are?
No.
At Boston,
Okay.
at Cleveland,
Yep.
at Oklahoma City.
All right. Well,
22-1 combined records.
We'll find. Holy crap. Well, I guess we'll learn about the Imagine Golden State knocks off Oklahoma City and the Cleveland Cavaliers. That'd be spectacular.
That Draymond's podcast would
Oh
Would-
my God.
be the worst thing.
It's the worst
It
thing.
would.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry ahead of time if that happens.
Yeah. You should be. You should be.
All right.
All right. I think we've got to get out of here.
Okay.
I keep forgetting to time this out. What do you
That's
guys got
fine.
coming up?
That's fine. Well, last night was pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
Last night was pretty spectacular on multiple fronts, man. So we'll break that game down from every angle. Will Z will be with us. Trista Crick is going to join us. Jason Jones in the final hour of the show. And I think we might have a special guest joining us nearish the top of the show. It is election day, and we have been particularly close with a candidate in Sacramento. So hopefully she makes her way in here as she casts her ballot for herself today.
Shout out.
Talking about Dr. Flo.
All right.
Can't wait. D'Lo and Casey.
Big Kings
coming up.
fan, Dr. Flo, that is.
D'Lo and Casey coming up next. That's James. I'm Kyle. We're the Insiders. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. We'll be back with you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Until then, drink water and be nice, people. Bye.